Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Hey guys, I just got back from a really cool vintage Japanese motorcycle show and swap meet in York Springs, Pennsylvania. It was at the Latimore Valley Fairgrounds, and it ran from August 16th through the 18th. It was a really nice time at the show this year, and there were lots of cool motorcycles, there were lots of vendors, there were lots of parts, and I love motorcycle swap meets because you just never know what you're going to see. And I'm always on the lookout for a few parts here and there. I didn't find anything that I couldn't live without this year, but there were some really neat bikes there, and I thought I would share those with you. Looking at the Hondas at the swap meet, one of the first bikes to catch my eye was this Honda CB900F2 Bol d'Or, which means Gold Cup. This was not a US spec model. This is a European spec model. I've always loved the color scheme on these bikes, and this one just looks so neat. The Gold Cup bikes had the gold rims, as you can see on this one. This bike is really intriguing to me with the red frame and the gold wheels, but it was in a little bit rougher condition than I usually pick up, and it needed quite a bit of work to get it back into the shape that I would want it in. This bike has a Honda line fairing on it that was used on several of the Honda models during the early 80s, including the CBX, the CB900F, and even some Sabre models. This is the first time I saw one of these bikes in person, and it was just really cool to get to see it there. The next bike up is a 1983 CB1100F, which was the successor to the CB900F. Unfortunately, this one looks like it has seen better days. Moving on, I thought this bobber custom was kind of cool. This is based on a 1972 CB350. Whoever did this did a nice job on the paint on the bike, and I think it's just a cleanly styled little custom. The 305 Hondas seemed to dominate the show this year. There were quite a few of them, and in all flavors. The next bike up is a Honda CL77, or 305 Scrambler. The CL77 is the Scrambler model of the Honda 305. It has a 305cc parallel twin air-cooled engine and a 4-speed transmission. I really like the styling on the CL77. I think it's very pretty, and it looks surprisingly modern. And back in the day, the Scramblers were essentially a street bike with high-mounted exhaust pipes, and you can see that on this bike as well. The next Honda 305 model that we'll look at is the 305 Dream. I really thought this one was pretty with the white bodywork and the red seat. This bike shares the motor with the CB77 and the CL77, but the Dream is the most pedestrian of the 305 models, and it was really meant to be a daily driver, a commuter, and just a basic all-around motorcycle. Next up, we have a CB77 Superhawk. This one has a lot of cool modifications on it. The first thing you notice here is the cut-down seat. It also looks to have custom shocks in the rear. It has a little belly pan underneath the engine. And I'm pretty sure the color scheme on this bike is custom as well. But it's very nicely done. It's just a beautiful little bike, and I thought you guys would enjoy it. This is a 1968 Honda CB125, and this one was for sale at the show. I just thought it was a cool looking little bike, and the price of $1,200 didn't seem too terrible either. The final Honda that caught my eye at the show was this beautiful candy orange CB550F Super Sport. I love the styling on this bike. This is one of my favorite standard style motorcycles. Honda really got the proportions of this bike right, and really everywhere you look, it's mechanical artwork. This is such a pretty design of the engine. I love the flow of the exhaust system out the front of the engine and along the one side. This is one of the first 4-into-1 exhaust systems fitted to a motorcycle, and it's something that we see as standard today and we expect out of a sporting motorcycle. I previously reviewed a Honda CB550F Super Sport on this channel. You can click the link above to view that video. Outside of the Hondas at the show, there were quite a few of the Yamahas there as well. One of the first ones to catch my eye was this really nice looking RD350 two-stroke. This is an air-cooled parallel twin two-stroke engine, and back in the day, this was a really hot performing mid-sized performance bike. I like the styling on these. I think Yamaha did a very good job coming up with a clean, well-balanced design on their RD line of motorcycles. Looking at this trailer full of motorcycles, I saw several of Yamaha's less popular 500cc parallel twin models. This looks to be a later model. I like the squared off styling on this one. and the one that's in the front looks to be a little bit older model. I would love to review one of these if I ever get the chance to ride a nice one. The final bike at the show that really caught my eye was this 1993 Yamaha GTS1000. This bike was intriguing to me. It was in very nice condition. It also came with a detachable Yamaha luggage. Looking at the bike, the first thing that stands out is the forkless front wheel. It has hub steering on it that was designed originally by James Parker back in the 80s. One neat feature of the front wheel is that it has the front disc brake internal to the wheel, and it has a massive 6-piston caliper acting on that. And I would definitely say that Yamaha is the only mainstream production bike with this type of front end on it. The advantages of this design are that it does not dive under braking, and it gives it very good control on the front end. Because the GTS 1000 essentially has a swing arm on the front of the bike, its frame is much different than a typical motorcycle. Yamaha called this frame the Omega-shaped chassis. The GTS 1000 used a version of the FZR 1000 inline 4-cylinder motor. The GTS 1000 also featured fuel injection. It also featured ABS and a catalytic converter all the way back in the early 90s. These were quite advanced for the Yamaha motorcycles of the time. The GTS 1000 is such a unique machine, and I would love to do a ride review of one in the future on this channel. Alright, I'd love to know what you guys think. If any of these bikes really stood out to you and you like them, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. As always, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and until next time, enjoy the ride.